Hi everyone, for today for this new video of critics, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite shows, Stranger Things. For a little presentation, Stranger Things is a TV show created by the Duffer Brothers, which was diffused on Netflix from 2016 to 2025. It's composed of 5 seasons and I'm going to present all of them and classify them on my ranking. So this is my opinion, okay? So if you don't watch the show, you have to go and watch now on Netflix because it's an order. So now let's go for the video. First act, The Vanishing of Will. So the story of Stranger Things takes place in 1983 in the little city of Hawkins in Indiana. It all begins when Will Byers, played by Noah Schnapp, disappears. Her mother, Joyce Byers, played by Winona Ryder, is convinced that Will is still alive, despite the pessimism of the local police, where Jim Hopper, played by Harvey Harbour, is the chief. Second act, The Arrival of Eleven. The friends of Will, Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard, Dustin, played by Gaten Matarazzo, and Lucas, played by Caleb McLaughlin, meet a stranger with a chased elf called Eleven, played by Millie Bobby Brown.
You guys hear that? That's not Will.
Also, we understand later in the show that she has telekinetic powers. She escaped from the Hawkins lab where scientists led secret experiments on her. Third act, The Investigation. So thanks to the disappearance of Will, a parallel universe called the Upside Down, where a creature called a Demogorgon doesn't look very cool, we can say that. And we discovered that Will is a prisoner in the Upside Down because the Hawkins lab have accidentally opened a gate to this dimension. Fourth act, The Final Fight. Thanks to the power of Eleven, because she is a badass girl, the group confronts the Demogorgon. Eleven managed to destroy it, but disappeared following that. And have to say goodbye to their Mike.
Goodbye, Mike.
The final of the season. So Will is finally found and is alive, but it seems to be again connected to the Upside Down, suggesting that the danger has not been completely eliminated. For my ranking of season 1, it will be on a 3rd on 5, because it's not my favorite season, but it's nostalgic because it's the first season and I love the vibe of horror that I like with no budget, and it was so good to watch this season. So now let's go for season 2. First act, Will is done very sad. So the second season took place 1 year after the events of the season 1. Will is back of the Upside Down, but he suffers from terrifying vision. He sees a huge dark creature called the Mind Flayers, who looks very terrifying, who tries to invade our world. We discover that Will is secretly linked to the Mind Flayer. Second act, The Upside Down extends. The gate towards the Upside Down, opened by the Hawkins lab, isn't completely closed. Different organic tunnels grow under Hawkins, which can permit the creature of the Demogorgon to attack. Fun fact, Dustin adopted a Demogorgon without knowing it was a Demogorgon. He called him Dot.
What the hell? Dart?
Third act, The Return of Eleven. So after a few episodes, we learned that Eleven is back and alive, hired by Hopper to try to understand her origins. She briefly meets another girl with power called Kelly or Hates, who starts to take her revenge on the scientists responsible for the experiments. Fourth act, The Hawkins Lab. The Hawkins Lab tries to contain the propagation of the Upside Down, but the situation spiraled out of control. The Mind Flayer take control of Will to spy on the group. The final act of the season. The band managed to isolate him from the Will from the Mind Flayer's influence by subjecting him to an intense heat. Meanwhile, Eleven uses her power to permanently close the portal and save Hawkins. The season finished during the Snowball, a school ball where the kids are finally enjoying a moment of normalcy, like their third kiss.
Baby, baby, please.
Despite this, in the Upside Down, the man player still seems to be watching Hawkins. Opinion for season 2, it would be a 4 on a 5 because it doesn't really like my favorite season because I don't like a lot the different intrigue they have. They don't have a interest during the season, like 11 go back to her to see her sister. For me, it's not a big interest, but I love always the vibe of the season, so it's not the last, but fourth, it's okay. So now let's go for season 3. First act, the Stockholm Mall and the Russian. So season 3 takes place during the summer of 1985. A new place makes his appearance, the Stockholm Mall. He becomes the new place of Hawkins, but his mall hides a secret Soviet base. The Russians try to open a new gate to the Upside Down thanks to a machine installed under the mall. The team back from scientist camp intercepts a secret Russian message on his radio, with Steve Acton, his best friend, Robin Buckley, her colleagues, and later Erika Sackler, the Lucas sister.
Oh, I can fit. I just don't know if I want to.
Are you claustrophobic?
I don't have phobias.
Okay, well, what's the problem?
The problem is, I still haven't heard what's in this for Erica.
Second act, the man players came back. The man player had not disappeared. A part of him stayed in Hawkins when the gate was closed in the end of season 2. He takes possession of Billy, Mac's brothers, and other inhabitants of Hawkins. The controlled individual acts strangely and are working to build a gigantic monster made of flesh and organic matter, and that's very disgusting. His goal, kill 11 and completely reopen the bridge between the two worlds. Third act, 11 weakness. 11 uses her powers extensively to confront the creature, but is injured by a part of the man player lodged in her leg. And that's not very beautiful to see. After that, she completely loses her powers, leaving her vulnerable. Fourth act, Joyce and Hopper. On the side, Hopper and Joyce investigate electromagnetic interference. They discover the Russian involvement and infiltrate the secret base under the Stockholm Mall. During the final confrontation, Joyce must activate the destruction of the Russian machine. Hopper is happy to die in the explosion, but his body is never found. The final act, the sacrifice and the departure. Billy, briefly freed of mind player possession by 11, sacrificed himself to save the group. The machine is destroyed, the monster disappears, and the mall is devastated in a terrible fire. 3 months later, Byers leaves Hawkins and 11 goes with them. 11 didn't get back her powers. But a post-credits scene revealed that an American prisoner is in Russia, suggesting that Hopper might be alive. For my opinion on season 3, it would be a 2 on 5 because it is one of my favorite seasons. I love the vibe of the summer and the different reference of the 80s. First act, Vecna and the Medusa. So season 4 takes place in 1986, a few months after the tragic incident at the Stockholm Mall. This season is a little bit different from the other because it takes place in 3 different places: Hawkins, California, and Russia. In Hawkins, a serial of murders strike Hawkins High School. The victims are found dismembered and the heights exploded. The principal suspect was Eddie Munson, the president of the Hellfire Club, because the first victim was found in his house. But the real responsible of this is Vecna, a humanoid creature from the Upside Down. Despite the other creatures, it can speak to the humans. The band found about Vecna is like a general of his man player. He attacks his victims cheekily, but the solution for not being attacked is that music can break his grip. Second act, 11 and the truth of her past. In California, 11 is having a very hard time at school and is being bullied and still hasn't regained her powers. After that, she is recovered by Martin Brenner, scientist at the Hawkins lab, and is still alive. He takes her into a secret program called Nina to restore her abilities by reliving her memories. So during a time, the truth that before there was a child called Juan. He was the first to have power, and that one was Henry Krill, a boy who was responsible for the massacre of this family in the 50s. Henry was entered in the Hawkins lab to study his powers. A few years later, 11 confronted Juan and threw him into the Upside Down, and like that one became Vecna. The act, in Russia, Hopper is still alive. Hopper is not dead, and I'm so happy. While he is a prisoner in a Soviet camp, with the help of Joyce and Murray, he escapes, and we found that the Russian host creature of the Upside Down, including, of course, a Demogorgon. Hopper confronts Demogorgon in the crowd of the prison, and then participates in an attack on a prison filled with fragments of the man player. Fourth act, the plan to stop Vecna. The band of Hawkins elaborate a plan to stop Vecna. First of all, Max is gonna serve as bait to attract Vecna, because Max is one of the victims under the influence of Vecna. Nancy, Steve, and Robin are going to the Krill's house where Vecna hides, and the Upside Down, and at the same time, Eddie and Dustin divert the demonic bots with a little music.
Percy, this is from you.
During the plan they have lost, Eddie sacrificed himself heroically and Max dies briefly before revived by Eleven, but she has remained in a coma. Final act, the disaster. Vecna partially succeeded in his plan that the full gate was opened in Hawkins, because one victim is equal to one gate, and the Upside Down started to invade reality. The season ends on an apocalyptic vision, ashes fall from the skies, and Hawkins is contaminated, and Vecna is still alive. My opinion for this season and my ranking is the one unfair. This is one of my favorite seasons because all the intrigues was really good. We know a lot about the Upside Down this season, so it was very cool. And first act, Hawkins is terminated. So season 5 takes place in 1987, 1.5 years after the events of season 4. Hawkins is under military quarantine because of the different gates opened from the Upside Downs. Hawkins is always marked by the opening of the gates. The inhabitants are traumatized. The goal of all the band is to find Vecna and to kill him. Vecna is not found at the beginning of the season, which forces the band to devise a plan to track him called the Crawl. Eleven at the same time researched by the government obligated for her to be hidden because they want to explode her powers. Second act, the truth. We found that Max is still alive in the spirit of Vecna and try to escape his mind. Also, at the middle of the season, we'll discover he can control creatures from the Upside Down with telekinesis, just like Eleven. So he can control the movement of Demogorgon, but also he can control Vecna. And to finish on that, we found out that the Upside Down was created by Brenner to find Henry and to revive his project of children with powers. Third act, the final confrontation. The band finally found where Vecna hid and confronted in a series of battles. During the final confrontation, Joss delivers the final blow to Vecna by decapitating him, a symbolic hack given in Journey since season 1. The destruction of the link between the two worlds is triggered by an explosion synchronized to the sound Purple Rain of Prince. Fourth act, the fate of Eleven. During the destruction of the Upside Down, Eleven remains trapped in that dimension and disappears without her, a death being confirmed. The ending intentionally leaves her fate open to interpretation. The final act of the season. After the great battle, there is a time jump that shows how life goes on. Hawkins is officially free of supernatural events, and the main characters each find their own path. The series concludes on a nostalgic and symbolic note. A new group begins a game of D&D in the Mike basement, like a passing torch between generations. My ranking for the season 5 of Stranger Things, it would be a 5/5. This is the worst season I watched because I think the budget killed the series. All the horror vibe was being killed. So I hope you enjoyed my videos. So if you like this video, you have to go like and you have to subscribe on my channel. Bye bye!